Every week, one person in Ireland is told that they may never walk again due to damage to their spinal cord. It could happen to any of us, at any time, as a result of an accident or an illness. But many of us don't really understand what a spinal cord injury is. Even though spinal cord injury is recognised internationally as one of the most devastating and debilitating injuries a person can experience. But let's first look at what the spinal cord is. The spinal cord is an important part of the central nervous system, which acts as a mechanism for the brain to send messages to the whole body, and for the body to send messages back to the brain. These messages could be simple ones, telling you to walk or to run, telling you to move your hands. The messages sent from the body to the brain might tell you that you stubbed your toe or that you burned your hand. And these messages are even responsible for you knowing when you need to use the toilet. If a spinal cord injury occurs, then this important messaging system becomes disrupted, and these messages that the brain is trying to send the body can't get through. Likewise, any messages that the body is trying to send back to the brain can't get through. This results in partial or complete paralysis and loss of feeling below the level of injury. Not everybody who has a spinal cord injury suffers with the same issues or presents the same way. These people that you see have something in common. They all have a spinal cord injury, but they are all different. And this is because they damaged their cords in different places, and the extent of the damage done was different in each case. Spinal cord injuries are classed as being either complete or incomplete. With complete injuries, there is no feeling or no movement below the level of the injury, as the cord is completely severed. With incomplete injuries, some messages may be able to get through, so there can be some feeling and some movement. As well as being classed as complete or incomplete, spinal cord injuries also vary in level. The amount of feeling and movement lost will depend on how much damage was done to the spinal cord. As you can see here, the colour red depicts the amount of the body that will be affected depending on what part of the spinal cord is damaged. If the damage to the spinal cord is done in the cervical region, which is the neck region, then the paralysis will include hands and arms, chest and shoulders. This is called quadriplegia, also known as tetraplegia. If the damage to the spinal cord is done in the lower levels, like in the lumbar or the thoracic region, paraplegia will result. This is paralysis of the legs and the lower body. For further information, please visit our website at www.spinalinjuries.ie. Thanks for watching.
People just look at you and they think, oh, poor Karen, she's in the wheelchair, the legs don't work, but that's an inconvenience. But there are kind of more bodily functions that are more of an inconvenience. So, I mean, travelling, I can't travel for more than a couple of days without bringing a chair with me, which is a bit of a nuisance, you know, for toileting. So that it can't be really spontaneous. You have to take every factor into consideration. So
my accident was 4 years in July, but I was paralysed from the neck down. I had to learn how to walk, and it took almost, say, 2 years really for me to sort myself out. But I was left with chronic pain, and it's like a hidden disability. You know, like I'm in pain 24/7, like, so.
After I left hospital from the spinal cord injury, I moved back to my mum's, and then I had a fall from the wheelchair, which I sustained quite deep grazes on my hip. I didn't realise, you know, that how important it was to get them seen to. I just assumed they would heal like normal, but basically it became septic, and I ended up having 13 operations on my hip, and it left me with quite a severe wound, and because of that I'm living in a nursing home now.
I got a big, like my elbows got swollen before I got full of fluid from me banging my elbows off the table because I've no feeling in my elbows, you see. And I went to the hospital and they told me that they don't deal with that kind of thing, and I was kind of looking at it saying, what do you mean, like, what, you don't deal with that kind of thing? So I just went to the doctor and just got antibiotics then.
Public health nurses used to do bowel care, but I always had a lot of accidents, so my dad took over and he kind of, and haven't had accidents ever since really. If you don't smell nice and you have an accident and something happens, people are looking at you, and again they think you're unhygienic or whatever, but yeah, it's the unseen things.
You know, bowel and bladder is a big thing. I haven't had issues with skin, you know, with pressure sores or anything like that, like you, luckily, but I mean, I think you talk to most people in wheelchairs and they'll say to you that it's not really the fact they can't walk again, it's the hidden things, and that's, you know, they're almost as difficult. I mean, if you'd said to someone, how much would you pay to have a functioning bowel and bladder, they'd probably pay, you know, hundreds of thousands of euro, you know, if that could be done.
I've had a lot of time to think over the last couple of years, and one thing that keeps jumping to my mind is, you know, before I was in the wheelchair myself, if I came across somebody in a wheelchair, I would just see them as a person in a wheelchair. I wouldn't see all the factors that was behind it. Skin care, pressure care, you know, toilet and transfer, and there's nutrition, there's a whole range of, you know, stuff that I needed to be educated on.
When I left the hospital, Siobhan was there for me, and have a great relationship, have we, Siobhan? No, she's always there, like at the other end of the phone.
I started working with Spinal Injuries Ireland over 10 years ago now. My main role in the organisation is to support individuals after a spinal cord injury.
And it's just nice to know that there's someone there, because sometimes when you're in pain, no one understands, like, you know.
When I first sustained my spinal injury, you know, I thought, you know, God, life is over, you know, I didn't know what to do. But now, as I'm listening to other people, I'm meeting other people in the same situation, I'm realising you can live life, you know, you can work, you know, you can have relationships, you can still do everything, you know, and that is the biggest thing for me, you know, to give me hope, you know. And with Spinal Injuries Ireland, I find you do that.
Now I'm married, I have a 5-year-old daughter, and I'm quite happy and still walking.
I remember wheeling around the square one day and I just thought, oh, it's great to be alive.